Hey,
Sure.
here we go. Here we go, everybody. All right. Come on. Come on, baby. Let's live stream. Come on, YouTube. You can do it. Pop up for me. Pop up now. Come on. And there we go. We are back. We are back. The mute button is on. I'm super excited. Hey, this is Todd Pittner. Most of you know me as Uncle V, Uncle Vigilante. You can call me whatever you want. But I got to tell you what, I'm back. We're back like a good rash. And it's been a long time since I've worn this shirt. I think it's been since May 15th, to be exact, when I was being interviewed by Leah Heilpern on her show, where it was an Epic Cash versus Bitcoin kind of debate. And I'm going to include a link to that in the show notes. And I really encourage you to go back and watch that because it's more relevant today than ever. Let me see. Got it. Let's see if there's anyone in the chat. Yeah, Jake's Custom Parts. Awesome. You're here. Okay, so it's all working. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a blockbuster interview. We are going to give you a peek into the Epic Cash future and how Epic Cash is going to be this giant project of differentiation within all of crypto. I have with me Sky King. He is tech expert. He's going to do this self-effacing thing right now, saying, "Oh, I'm not really an expert stuff," but he is. But let me invite him to say hello and do the self-effacing thing. Sky King.
Hey, Todd.
How
Good to
are
be
you?
back. I'm great. Good to be
Oh,
back, and great to have you back in the saddle again, doing all
thank
things
you.
epic.
Thank you. I'm super excited. It has been a long time coming. I covered Epic Cash for 3 years, and it was really, really such an integral part of my life. And for those of you who, may not have all of the history or whatever, but there were some things that happened back in mid May from a leadership level, and I just want to go on record. I have never, ever, 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 ever had any issue with Epic Cash, the tech. Leadership, different story. And you know what? Specific to that, I want to share my screen. And I'm going to also tell you, I'm going to link to this in the show notes as well. So if you want to learn more, I will tell you that, first of all, do you guys know that I am the co host on Decentralized TV? Mike Adams, he makes me wear a tuxedo every time we do an interview. I'm kidding. But anyway, I invite you all to go to decentralized.tv, please. This week, we released an amazing interview with Gene. You know him as Yoga Dude. And we spent over an hour talking about Epic Cash, all the positive attributes of Epic Cash. And for those of you that have been around the last half year, you know that was a blockbuster interview because Epic Cash is on Mike and my minds in a positive way again. And Gene, Yoga Dude, I want to say thank you. You were awesome. We've gotten just amazing reviews from that interview. So everybody, please go to decentralized.tv. Look at the most recent interview that we have released, and that's Gene. Now, the day that I released that, I want to share with everybody. Those of you know who Ab the Fakeologist is. I am fakeologist. I'm a fakeologist. Whatever the heck it is his handle. But anyway, he covers mainstream news and he debunks. He auto hoaxes the mainstream narrative. He's great, and he invited me a long time ago to come on his show for an interview to say, what the hell is going on? Can you please make sense of this? Because people are just really wondering. And I said, no, I can't. I can't and I won't. And here we are 6 months later. And on that same day that we released the interview with Gene, that evening, I gave Ab, let me stop the screen share and show you another one. I'm going to go up here. and I'm just going to direct you to this. I gave Ab an exclusive. Where are we? Goodness gracious. Sorry, I'm going to stop share and I'm going to do it again. Share screen. Here we go. And if you want to, well, let's make it easy. I'm going to link to this in the show notes too, but it's Uncle Epic Vigilante with Epic Cash exclusive news. That was the title, but I will just tell everybody for the first time in 6 months, I felt comfortable being able to tell the story from my point of view. And I will tell you that I went into that interview and I said, the one thing that I am going to do with 100% conviction is I'm going to tell my truth, and nobody will ever be able to listen to it and say that I embellished one thing or that I misspoke or lied or any of that. What you got was pure, unfiltered authenticity from me. So I invite you to go listen to that, and that will connect a lot of dots for you. But you will know that there were some conditions that needed to be met for me to, again, be able to cover Epic Cash. And I'm not going to go through those now. That's in the rear view mirror because they were satisfied. And Mike Adams and I are both super excited about Epic Cash. And I want to show you one last thing here, which is this, just because it's kind of fun. Ever since our interview with Gene and then my interview with Ab, I will tell you, I've gotten a lot of people who have reached out to me by DM saying, "Hey Todd, is it time? I mean, can I get off the sidelines again?" I'm like, "It's time, baby." So I think we're up 35% in the last couple of days. So good on the project, good on us. Okay. So over the last 6 months, especially recently over the last month, I started noticing Sky King was posting different things from a tech standpoint about point of sale integration of Epic Cash and how can Epic Cash actually become legitimate money at retail. How could Epic Cash behave, our spending of it, behave just like the wallet is no different than a private debit card? Well, we're going to learn all about that today. Sky King, I am so super excited. Oh, one last thing before we get into this, I want to let everybody know next Friday, I can't do an Epic Cash Live, but you know what I'm doing for you? Tomorrow, I'm interviewing Tillman. And it is going to be an amazing interview where we are going to cover a ton of landscape. And I'm going to edit that before I have to go on my little, it's a work vacation this next week. But next Friday, I will upload it. So we're going to make every Friday. It will be either a live stream or it'll be an upload from an interview that I do. But my commitment to you is continue to deliver the Epic Cash news. Okay. Done with the house cleaning. Hopefully people coming in. Let me see if we have a few people in there. It looks like we do. Hey, everybody. Good seeing you. Good to have you back. It's good to be back. Sky King, talk to us a little bit about what you've been working on and how it could possibly impact not only our project, but the future of cryptocurrency, sir.
Yeah, well, just like you, I've noticed over the past few months that there have been several posts of people mentioning point of sale. You know, when is Epic going to have a point of sale or be part of a point of sale? So if we got a couple of minutes, maybe I'll put on my instructor hat and we'll do a quick overview of how businesses run their business in an accounting system.
Great. And I want to let you know that I am making you co-host. So if you do want to screen share anything, feel free. If you don't, that's fine. But you are now co-host.
Cool. I like being co-anything. All right. So businesses, in order to run their business, almost everybody is running some kind of an accounting software package, whether it's, canned off the shelf, something simple for a small business, or, if it's a big business, they've got the resource and the devs to cook their own. But basically, in an accounting system, you have three core elements, which is your chart of accounts, balance sheet, and profit loss. In your operational, by the way, most of these accounting systems are modular. So each module has something specific that it does. So in an accounting system, besides the three accounting core parts, you've got operational parts. And usually the center of those parts is the inventory control part.
Okay.
Now, if you want to increase your inventory, then you run the module that is your purchase order, where you're going out and you're making orders and you're getting in either raw materials if you're building a widget, or you're buying widgets from somebody that you're going to resell. So that increases inventory. Then on the other end, you want to sell that inventory, and that's usually a sales order module. Sales orders usually are used by businesses where they're selling a bunch of widgets to a distributor. So the distributor's buying, 10,000 of one type of widget. Now, if you are a retailer, then your sales order is basically selling to a bunch of retailers. If you're a distributor, in which case you're selling a bunch of different widgets at a smaller quantity. And a sales order is usually generated, you have a sales team, they make phone calls, they send out emails, and that's how you do your sales. Then you have merchants that are, or businesses that are an actual merchant that sells widgets in a brick and mortar building, where they have actual people coming in. So it's P2P, person to person, live people, going through the store, getting something and checking out at the cash register. That becomes a point of sale module. It's the mechanics are exactly the same as a sales order, because you're basically just selling a widget to somebody, but it's a little different in that the way it prints out the sales order, it actually becomes an invoice instead of a sales order, and it looks different, and it usually has hooks into an electronic cash register, or something as simple as a cash drawer connected to a PC.
All right.
So that's point of sale. And if it is connected to a register or a cash drawer, then accepting cash to settle the invoice or a check is part of the point of sale. But we all know that in this day and age, 90% of all sales transactions are settled with a bank provided merchant terminal that processes credit cards, debit cards, and gift cards. That is known as a payment processor. It is separate from a business's accounting system point of sale module. So what we're talking about here is that Epic Cash is going to be a payment processor, not a part of a point of sale system. So just to clarify that, they're two separate things. So I looked at how we could take what we have as Epic Cash right now in the wallets, in the way the tech is set up, how we do transactions, what kind of information and data are we sharing. And it turns out that in order to become a payment processor, it's actually very simple. The key piece to make it all happen is that the merchant has to provide a piece of information which would either be an invoice or a sales order number provided to the customer, which the customer would then send back to the merchant with their Epic transaction. So the merchant can see the transaction coming in and see in that transaction, oh, there's my invoice. So now I can match the invoice and the Epic transactions. And then they go into their point of sale system to the invoice and they check off invoice paid, settled, we're done.
Wow.
It's that simple.
You know, so I want to interject here.
Sure.
The reason why this is so important for everybody watching is this is a monumental use case. So when this use case is solved, I'm telling you that, you know, being a store of value is a long-term shitty use case, right? We want to be able to be a private cryptocurrency that people actually utilize. That is what is going to create the mass adoption that we need, and not be the head-to-head, you know, we don't have to fight the battle of we're greater than Bitcoin, you know, all of that. No, Bitcoin is great in and unto itself in its own ways. It's the grandfather of crypto. We do not need to compete with Bitcoin, but we do need to compete with Visa, MasterCard, Cash App, you know, gift cards, etc. So that's what we're talking about. And when, not if, this code is cracked for Epic Cash, and it is as easy as Diego integrating this into the Epic Pay wallet, and I want to talk to you about how that might look like later, Sky, it is a game changer, everybody. It is a monumental game changer that when that happens, you're not going to be talking about Epic Cash being under $1. I'm just telling you. Okay, sorry for the interruption.
No, you're right. It's that's a good overview. We're at a point where it's time to you know, jump out of the nest and spread the wings. Epic Cash was, the whole inception of Epic Cash was to be private money.
Right.
Well, if it is, let's start using it as money.
Right.
We use it to buy goods or services, and how do we do that? And you know, if we're not using the wallet simply as you know, a fun tool between crypto hobbyists just to trade coins back and forth, then, you know, it's about as useful as a dildo in a circle jerk. But
oh, you know what? Since you evoked that, Sky, I gotta reference the Bible right now. Would you excuse me for a second? Sure. Everybody, this is contextual. I did pull this up before we began. Are you guys familiar with Revelation 13:7? Well, it talks about so that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark. That is the name of the beast or the number of its name. Now, regardless of what your religious or non-religious persuasion is, you know, the book of Revelation has been around a long time. And when you actually look at what's going on in this world, and, you know, you have the vaccines and you have the CBDCs, and you see where the Druid Babylonian bastards are taking us. I don't know about you, but it kind of feels like within my operating reality that Revelations is kind of exploding off of the pages in 3D. And so I don't want to have to use CBDCs. I don't want to have to use have a chip put somewhere in me to buy and sell. Hell no. I want an alternative economy to where we can use Epic Cash, cryptocurrency, to be able to buy and sell. It's kind of what this is all about, isn't it, Sky King?
Absolutely. That quote from Revelations pretty much can be reworded as, you know, you will use CBDCs and you will be happy, and we will control everything you do.
Yeah.
So
Eat to see
absolutely.
bugs. Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. So we're going to break out and we're going to start using
By the
Epic
way,
as
everybody,
money.
we have 20 some people watching, and maybe it's just the YouTube system, but there's one like, and it was from me. So please smash the like button. I know you like Sky King. I hope you like me, but with all of you watching, like, and hit the notification bell. That's going to be important as we move forward. Because I don't know when I'm going to live stream. I'm going to try to do every Friday, but sometime I might decide to live stream at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday because that's the only time that I can do. So hit the notification bell. Okay, that's my last interruption for the day.
I'm going to hold you to it.
Okay, good enough.
Nah, no, that's okay. So you want to get into how this is going to work?
Yes, sir, please.
All righty. Okay, so when I looked at this, I wanted to make sure that, like I said, we have the tools already in the wallet, the way it works, the way the transactions work, how the data works back and forth, because I wanted to keep it simple, and if at all possible, make sure that I didn't have to burden the devs with having to add any new code to the core wallet.
Good decision.
We wanted to just use, if we can make it happen at all with what we have, we will. And guess what? We can. It's that simple.
Awesome.
Yep. Yep. So there's basically, when I looked at it, I mean, there's, every merchant is different. Everybody's running a different kind of accounting system, point of sale. Some people have cash drawers, they have electronic cash registers, they've got the bank provided merchant terminal if they're not smart enough to go out and use an alternative like I do, which is called Square, which is just a card reader that plugs into your phone, and it automatically takes the 2.8% fee out of the transaction, and it puts the money into your bank account the next day. Okay. And you don't have to pay the stupid monthly fee to the bank for the terminal, and you don't have to pay the stupid yearly security review fee to the bank either. So Square is a really good option for small businesses.
Yep.
So you've got three different types of merchants. When I boil everything down, I like to move everything as far down as I can to the lowest common denominator to see what's left at the bottom. How simple can we make it? And out of all of those types of merchants, I've identified basically three types. Merchant number one is basically an individual with something to sell, like a yard sale, a garage sale, a farmer's market, a street vendor. Okay. And in that case, what you're doing is two people are meeting face to face. They've got their Epic Pay wallet, and they agree on an amount of Epic for whatever is being bought and sold, and they just do a regular transaction. They don't. The merchant, the person selling, he's not sophisticated. They don't have a point of sale. They don't. Right. They don't have an invoice to settle. It's just, give me your money.
and they likely don't have an Epic Pay wallet ready to, do a peer-to-peer transaction with you either, right?
Well, no, they do. I mean, they're standing there with their Epic Pay, and you've got yours, and they just go through the normal routine of, okay, I'm gonna charge you 5 Epic for this, okay, and then the seller, brings up their QR code, which is their receive address, and the buyer scans it, puts in 5 Epic, hits send, done, transaction complete.
Oh, I misunderstood. I thought you were talking about this could be integrated into different point of sale systems to where we could use our Epic Pay to be able to pay whatever.
Right.
But they don't have to be expert in Epic. But you're saying, so this would be an outreach to the individual who wants to be able to transact peer-to-peer, or it would be for a retailer, but they would have to do something to integrate Epic into their system or at the merchant processing level. Help me understand that better.
Well, there's again, I've identified 3 different merchants, and the first merchant isn't really a merchant. Again, it's just P2P, 2 people getting together, one's buying, one's selling, and they just do a regular, wallet to wallet,
Okay,
phone
now
to
that,
phone,
yep, that's
Epic Pay to Epic Pay.
That's presuming that the recipient is cool receiving Epic Pay or I mean Epic as payment. But what about the individual, like let's say the guy who comes and cleans my car, waxes my car once a quarter or whatever, and I usually send to him, through Cash App, the money, right? Would there be part of this model to where I could send him Epic Cash, but it converts somehow, some way into fiat from his side? Or do they need to be sold on Epic Cash being a medium of exchange?
Yeah, when I designed the Epic Pay, and I'm calling it EPS, EPPS, Epic Payment Processing System.
Okay.
Not to be confused with Ray.
Okay. Epic, say it again. Payment.
Epic Payment Processing System, EPS.
Okay, great.
Right. All right. So when I did this, we have to assume that both the buyer and the seller are all on board with accepting Epic Cash as payment.
Okay.
So basically, the payment system is just settling in Epic. It's up to the merchant what they do with their Epic once they get it. But,
okay,
all I'm doing is designing the methodology to get a merchant paid in Epic for goods or services.
Okay. No, right. That's important.
Yep.
That's important to know. So it's not necessarily it's not necessarily frictionless to where I can say, good, I can take my Epic bag and I can go buy anything I want out there. And I know somehow magically in the interim, it's going to convert into the fiat they want, but I get to use my Epic. So got it. So we have some work to do from an evangelism standpoint to be able to have this be a use case. But I believe that with what's going on in this world right now, we will get people's attention, especially from the side of those of us who I would say are freedom-loving people, humanity-loving people, decentralized loving people who are interested in a parallel economy. Yes?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be organically grown. Out of the three merchant types that I've identified, the individual, the small business, and the large business, we are going to appeal to the individuals at the yard sales and the garage sales and the farmers markets first. And then the small businesses are going to realize, once we show them that it's a pretty simple process, they don't have to do a lot of work or spend any money modifying their point of sale system in order to accept Epic Cash.
You know what, Sky? I know because Mike and I have interviewed a couple of these type folks who are, they lead these private associations, right? To where there are a boatload of people that like-minded people who might join a specific private association. And they are literally, this is part of what they are seeking, which is, what is the medium of exchange of value that we can trade or barter between us? X for food, so they're working on things like, I can give you a dozen eggs for, a pound of chicken, or a pound of not chicken, pound of beef or something. You know what I mean? They're seeking that right now. So if this becomes something that actually, man, that really gets me super excited. When this gets done, I'm going to introduce you to one of the BSDs, if you will, within that space. Mike and I have interviewed him, and he would be perfect to at least be able to approach and be able to present. And as you know, in this world, you just need one. And when you get one, and you can plan, do, review, implement, execute, fine tune it. And when that's working and you can create it to be a step and repeat with a success story behind you, then you're cooking with gas. So I'm really super excited about this.
Yeah, it's a game changer for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. So
beautiful.
The second type of merchant that is going to probably come along and start adopting is the small business. Now, small businesses don't have resource or the funds to go and cook their own custom accounting point of sale system. They're probably using something that's canned off the shelf. And so let's go through a transaction with this type of person. Let's say we have a baker that's all in on Epic Cash.
Mm-hmm.
And he's running a point of sale system, and he's running it on his laptop. Well, for him to be able to use Epic and accept Epic, besides his point of sale that, let's say, he's running on his laptop in his bakery, he's also running the GUI wallet.
Right.
And he's also got a web browser open, and it's pointed to my EpiPay web page that generates the QR code. epipay.epic.tech. So EPIPAY.epic.tech. Yep.
Okay.
That takes you to one page where you can fill in your receive address, your invoice number, which is the magic key part of all this, and the amount of Epic. And it will create a QR code.
Wow.
With all of that information in it.
Beautiful. That's cool.
Yeah. So the baker comes out, and he's got my beautiful 15-inch German chocolate triple layer cake with coconut frosting ready to go. And let's assume that Epic is $5. And so here's your cake, and that will be for Epic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
let's do this just for this example. Let me pull it up. So here we go.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So I don't have my wallet receive address, but okay. So
yeah.
All right. Well, so now that we can visualize this, just walk us through it again. Okay.
That's right. Yeah. Well, when you call up this web page, you can call it up with your receive address, and it will perpetuate every time you call the web page up. So it would autofill receive address.
How do you program that in though? I mean,
you say epipay.epic.tech ? And then you put in your receive address. And that would automatically fill in the wallet receive address for you.
Okay, so do you envision at any point in time there being a little hamburger menu to where where you could put in there, I want to populate my receive address or something like that?
Well, that would just be copy paste.
Okay.
Copy paste. Right. Yep. So the baker runs his point of sale. It generates an invoice. It says one German chocolate cake, $20.
Okay.
And he's got an invoice number.
All right.
So he will bring this up on his laptop. He will put in his invoice number in the point of sale ID, and
Okay.
he'll put in for Epic for the amount.
Okay,
And
let me ask you this. What are people using to establish the true value to not have to go figure it out exactly what $20 is today versus tomorrow because the price is increasing or decreasing or whatever? I mean, are we trusting? Do we have to place our trust in the man with the laptop that the math is right? Or is there a way in the system to where it's auto-populated? You put in the fiat amount and boom, it shows you how much Epic at that point in time it's pulling from wherever.
I would say from a merchant's point of view, especially if it's a small merchant going through this, they're going to probably go to whatever trusted website we're going to agree on that
Okay.
has the actual fiat value currently for Epic. And they're just going to have to manually calculate, okay, I'm selling this cake for $20, and right now Epic is $5, so that means I'm
But
charging.
can we instead of putting that burden on them, can we not just integrate right into that Epic payment processor a calculator that would do the same thing? So all they have to do is put in the fiat amount, and then boom, that includes, based upon this price right now, 4.52 Epic that would then be included within that QR code.
Yeah, I could look into doing that. I actually designed the payment system to do that on the other end with Epic Pay.
Okay.
So yeah, we could do it by adding the fiat value lookup on that web page. I'll have to go in and do some research.
Yeah, I just think
that
the less friction that you can present, which means having to educate people on, okay, now when it comes time to figuring it out, you need to go to VTEX and click on markets and click on buy and click on the top red, and yeah, that's 41.2 cents right now. So that's what you need to do. Now you need to figure it out, what $20 divided by that. I just think that would be a great value add, and it would, put it this way, if I was a merchant or if I was the customer, I would feel much better knowing that it was just automated in a up to the minute calculator. But okay, that's just a suggestion.
Right. So
okay.
the customer now is going to take Epic Pay, which is going to have a pay button.
Okay.
And when they tap on pay, it's going to bring up a QR code scanner.
Mm-hmm.
The merchant will turn his laptop around and show the customer the QR code that was generated from the Epic Pay page.
Okay.
And the customer scans that, and it's going to read in the merchant's receive address, the merchant's invoice number,
mm-hmm.
and the amount of the transaction in Epic.
Great.
Okay. Epic Pay is then in the background going to do the lookup and convert for Epic into the current fiat value that's set in Epic Pay, because everybody's local currency is different.
Okay.
We're on US dollars, so it's going to see for Epic. It looks it up. Okay, Epic's $5, so it's going to come up with $20.
Okay.
It will then jump to the send page, and it will auto fill in the receive address, which is the merchant's address.
Yeah.
It will go to the on-chain note field, and it will put in that invoice number that the merchant sent over.
It'll just auto-populate it right there.
Auto-populate, and then next to that, it'll auto-populate the calculated fiat value of the Epic transaction.
Wow.
And it will auto-populate the amount.
Beautiful.
The customer looks and goes, okay, I see the invoice number and I see for Epic. Yep, we agreed on that. Hit send. Minute later, the baker looks on his GUI wallet, sees the transaction come in, and if he clicks on the transaction detail, the little I that's over on the right,
Yeah.
it brings up all of the hidden detail of that transaction. And if you look down a few steps down, it says message 0. That is the same thing as on-chain note on Epic Pay. And in that field, he's going to see his own invoice number attached to that transaction.
Beautiful.
So now he can match the transaction amount for Epic and the invoice number in his point of sale, go into his point of sale and click the little box that says invoice paid. That transaction is now complete, not only in Epic land between two wallets, it's also complete on the merchant end because his point of sale invoice has been settled and paid for.
Okay, let me ask you this, because it certainly will come up. Merchants have to pay sales tax, or the consumers have to pay sales tax. Where does that come into the equation? Because the merchant is going to need to be able to prove that not only did they sell the item for $20, but depending upon where they are located, they may have to add a 8% sales tax or something to that.
Yeah, that's all handled by the merchant's point of sale. I mean, the cake's $20. They have to collect, 5% sales tax. So the total invoice is $21.
Got it. Okay, so
that's already handled by the merchant's point
it's
of
already
sale.
baked in with their standard operating procedure. So
That's right.
Okay, I just wanted to be very crystal clear
Yeah.
to people that this isn't something that's going to bypass your obligation to pay sales tax in where you have to. Okay, good. Thank you.
All we're creating here is a payment processor, just like you swipe a credit card.
Right.
It doesn't care. It doesn't care.
Yeah.
What the amount is for. All it cares about is how much do you need? Here's the amount. That's all.
Got it. Okay.
Keep it simple. So
totally agnostic to everything within that transaction except X and Y.
Right. The burden of this whole process is on the merchant to be able to process the transaction, the payment transaction into their point of sale, however they do that.
Okay.
That's why it becomes such an easy thing on our end as a payment processor.
Yeah.
All we have to do is send the money.
So the what's in it for them can be, let's just war game this out. When the shit hits the fan and hyperinflation goes into full gear, and we know from history that whether it's Venezuela or wherever, literally a merchant can have the price of their coffee go up considerably within an hour. I mean, there are the stories. I've participated in the interviews to where people, I believe it was from Beam, was talking about when they were implementing their point of sale system, and that how Beam became a solution because it brought things back to sanity, to where the merchant and the buyer, they could have a medium of exchange that would hold its value, that wouldn't be so schizophrenic, right? So this then can be a solution when that proverbial shit hits the fan and things go nuts. This will be a much welcomed alternative solution to the centralized means now that rely on banks and the Druid Babylonian bastard systems. Yes?
I'd say yes and no, because this is a two-edged sword. You have to realize that in a hyperinflationary environment, we're settling in Epic, but at the end of the day, that merchant still has to pay the utility company to keep the lights on.
Okay.
He has to pay that bill in the hyperinflated currency that's being in use. So when
Right.
he charges you that that $20 for that nice cake, he might, because of the inflationary rate, think, by the end of the day, that cake is going to be $21.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so it's up to the merchant to decide how they're going to handle that hyperinflation. So they
Yeah.
may charge you $21 for that cake.
Yeah.
That's
But
up to them. Again,
yeah,
at the end of the day, Epic is just a payment processor. I'm sending X amount of Epic to pay and settle what the vendor wants for it, for value, for the good or the services that they're providing.
see, in my rich imagination, Epic Pay does become the unit of account, right? To where then you even go up chain and you go to the vendor that you have to pay, and you have the conversations of, we want to pay you an Epic. And again, that's just my rich imagination. But ultimately, that's long ball, right? To where we're not denominating in shitty, hyperinflated fiat, we're
Right.
denominating in Epic. That would be
Right.
game
Yeah.
changer.
Yeah. In that utopian society and that you're hoping for, that would work as long as the utility company is
Yes,
also on board with Epic and isn't charging at the end of the day a hyperinflated higher rate to
exactly.
keep the lights on.
Yep,
But
yep,
but because you have to operate in both worlds of
yeah,
perfect Epic and corrupted fiat, well, we've got to still play by those rules.
yeah. Well, I just wanted to throw out my rich imagination because that's ultimately that would be Nirvana, but I know
Yeah,
Nirvana is never
yeah,
going to arrive. But
right,
and we will just keep chipping away at potential
right.
solutions. But I'm just really uh delighted and excited that you've been, kind of pushing this boulder uphill while everybody else was just out to lunch. And good on you. So okay, let's continue. So we covered the first two. What's the
Right.
third? What's the third?
The third is the big boys.
Okay.
The large merchants that they do have resource and budgets to hire devs to custom bake, their own in-house accounting system, point of
Yeah,
sale, all of that.
right.
So now most of those types of vendors at that level just don't have brick and mortar or may not have any brick and mortar. I
Yeah.
mean, we're talking like Amazon, eBay,
Sure.
um, the big guys. So you're buying and selling through through a website.
Mm-hmm.
So the mechanics are still the same. You're still buying something. You go to it goes in your shopping cart just as if you were pushing a cart in a store. Then you
Yep.
go to checkout as if you were standing at a cash register.
Right.
And one of the options that would be on your checkout, besides credit card, PayPal, is Epic.
Okay.
And
Beautiful.
when you select Epic, they have an app that they have to custom make that's running in the background that once you click on Epic, it's going to create that QR code just like my little website does there.
Right.
So it's going to fill in, the merchant Epic wallet received address,
Yep.
the online, let's call it the online web order number.
Yep.
There's your order number. And it's going to go out and do that lookup that you're talking about. And
Mm-hmm.
it's going to provide, let's say you bought something for $120 and it's still $5 of Epic. So it's going to go out and convert that into Epic and say, okay, you're your invoice total is 24 Epic.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So you're going to take your Epic Pay and you're going to scan that QR code that's on your computer screen. And it's going to do the exact same thing it did at the Bakers. It's going to jump to the send screen and autofill all of those fields. And you're going to see that your order number in the on-chain notes field.
Yeah.
And you're going to see the calculated fiat amount that the vendor sent you.
Mm.
And then the 24 Epic, and you're gonna verify it, and you're gonna hit send, and within a couple of minutes, that's gonna hit the vendor's wallet, and the same app that's running in the background along with their point of sale system that created your QR code is now sitting there, and it's looking at your wallet transactions, and it's looking for a new transaction to show up.
Right.
When that transaction shows up, one of the fields of data that's in there is it's called completed, but it actually means finalized or confirmed.
Yeah.
Confirmed is true. Well, that means finalized. So that means the transaction's pretty much done. Now it might be sitting there going through the 10 confirmations with blocks that it needs on the blockchain, but once it's on the blockchain, the transaction is pretty much complete as far as getting paid.
Wow.
Okay. So that application has now identified the transaction. I got a new transaction on my wallet. It says it's verified. Now let me see. And it opens up in the details. There's something we use in Epic in transactions. It's an internal ID. It's called the Slate ID.
Okay.
And that's how two wallets share a transaction and can know it's the same transaction by the Slate ID.
Interesting.
So their little app will pick up that Slate ID, and then it will do another query into the wallet and say, hey, I got this Slate ID in here. Can you show me what's in the message 0 field, please? Which is the same thing in Epic Pay as the on-chain note field. And that field will have the vendor's order number that that's on your screen in your checkout. Well, there's your order number. So now it has that piece of information to then go into the point of sale system and say, I have this order number and I have a verified Epic transaction that shows it has been finalized. So please check off that this web order is paid and finalized. So you can now you can send it to be picked, packed, and shipped.
And that same day, because you don't have to worry about chargebacks or anything like that if you are the vendor, right? I mean, the transaction is final. So you don't have to worry about somebody placing a big order, getting the order, and then calling the bank and doing a chargeback and basically, conducting theft, because that happens all the time. Mike Adams talks about that all the time. That's why I have a sneaky suspicion that what you're talking about right now, especially because with Mimblewimble, you need to have, both sides open to be able to transact, right? And I know we have a solution with the Epic Box and such, but with the solution you're talking about, I presume the vendor's wallet's always going to be open, right? So there's never the issue of waiting until they come online or whatever. It's always open. So it's seamless. It's like perfect. So I know Mike really well right now. And I know that there's no one that is more forward thinking, and there's nobody that knows crypto from a vendor's or from a seller's point of view like him. And I just have a sneaky suspicion when he listens to this, that he would be open to doing a pilot with Health Ranger Store. I can't speak for him, Mike. When you watch this, I'm sorry, but you know me, I'm just stream of consciousness right now, because you know, I think this is going to be this is going to be very pleasing for Mike to be able to hear that you've worked on this and we're getting to the point to where something like that could be implemented on a pilot basis. I know I would buy a heck of a lot of food with my Epic Cash. I would love to do that, you know.
Right.
So afterwards, you know, Mike will listen to this and such, and if he's interested, we'll reach out and hey, maybe we can march towards a pilot of sorts, because that's what it's all about. You get it. That's use case, right? Frankly, that's where we were 6 months ago before things within the community got derailed. You know, you had no bigger fan than Mike Adams. And we're back. We're back to the point to where we're truly excited about solutions again. And the non-interactive transactions, you know, on a personal level, that's a game changer. But what you're talking about right now operationalizes a seller, online seller, to be able to accept Epic seamlessly. Yes?
Correct. Yep. We're 6 months farther down the road, but we're also 6 months farther along with core development in the
Right.
wallet, to where it's now faster and a lot more reliable. And we've had a chance to noodle out how this whole payment processing thing is going to work. So now it's all figured out. It's all done. It's just a matter of implementing.
Wow. What needs to happen from our end to be able to be ready to engage in a pilot? Anything left?
Oh, yeah. This all hinges on the Epic Pay wallet.
Oh, talk to me. What about it?
So, well, we need to get the CipherStack team to assemble all the little parts that they already have in code into making that pay button work.
Okay. Okay.
So when you hit, like I said, when you hit the pay button, it's going to bring up a QR code scanner. Well, they already do that, you know. But they have to add a little bit of code to take that string of text that's in the QR code, which is receive address, invoice number, amount. They need to break that string into the 3 pieces and then auto-populate the fields in the send screen. And they already have the ability to go out and calculate the fiat currency value of Epic, because they do that when you see your total. You know, when you see your balance, it's got how much that balance is in fiat.
Yep.
So they're already doing that. So they just need to go out and take the amount that comes over in that QR code and calculate the fiat currency value and populate that into the along with the invoice number in that memo field, and then it's just a regular send transaction. Done.
Wow. Okay, so we're talking about a programmer spending time connecting all the dots that are already there.
Correct.
Okay, so is that in your based upon your experience, what you know, is that a heavy lift? Is that going to take a long time? Is that no? Okay.
Couple of days, one programmer.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, if it could be done, how would we do it? Can what's getting in the way? Is it just money?
Well, I'm not part of how that all works.
Okay.
But my guess would be, since CipherStack is like a subcontractor for us, it's a matter of I've already identified the project and the scope, so it's a matter of presenting that to CipherStack and getting a quote for time to do the project and a cost, and then collecting funds to pay that project.
Well, can you do that? Because that would be something Historically, I have always been all about if we can identify something that is good for the community, the good for the project, and good for Epic Cash. I'm not talking about any subway stops that are 4 years down the line or whatever, imaginary subway stops. I'm talking about what is going to move the needle with Epic Cash. If you could get that budget and talk to Diego and the Cipher Stack team, that would be something I believe. I know this community would rally behind something like that. So it doesn't sound to me like it's going to be a crazy heavy lift or an expensive one, but it is. I mean, that's what they do. I know that he has people who he has to pay, and
Right.
so that's fine. But man, if we can get that, I mean, everybody, please understand, you're talking about differentiating ourselves from Monero, from everybody else that's out there. Nobody's going to have this within their wallets except us. And if we combine that with an identified use case, which again, I can't commit Mike Adams or whatever, but I just know him and his heart and his zeal towards braving the path before us. And I know that Mike knows that if this could be solved, that would be a game changer, not only in his business, but elsewhere, and ultimately creating an alternative means of account and payment and such. I think that we could be able to get a pilot in the works, and then once it's worked on and launched and tested and everything, and it's working, man, that's when it becomes step and repeat. How many online stores are there out there? We don't have to worry about integrating this at Walmart. No, we're talking about being able to port this to where it makes sense. Let's start with like-minded people, freedom-loving people out there who would, if you hand delivered to them this solution, and they saw how a business began to accept Epic Cash, and guys, when there is a use case, that's what is attractive to people. That's what, when you talk about widespread adoption, you have to start somewhere, and it's got to be through real use cases. But if we do this and we're able to show people that you can buy food, with your Epic Cash easily, seamlessly, and the seller is receiving that payment, and the project is being rewarded because it's like numbers go up based upon successful use cases out there. I believe we're done with the pullback. I believe that we are primed, ready to go to realize, our next chapter. So please, if you can work with Diego to do that and get that, you have my commitment to be able to rally the community. I'll have to stretch a little bit because I'm a little out of practice, a little out of shape, but I think the community will appreciate the level of detail and being able to say, this is what it will take, this is what it will do, and they'll be very, very supportive of this. It's way different than me coming to you saying, hey, there's a project with another company halfway across the world. I need $465,000. Shake your your couch cushions and get every penny you can and send it to me. No, that's not what we are about anymore. We have talked about there are not going to be any community fundraisers ever again for anything that is not directly related to Epic Cash and the advancement of the project and blockchain. So I am super excited after this hour, Sky. We are at an hour, so we're going to wrap this up, but I'd like to give you the last word here, and just let us know if there's anything else on your mind or any questions that I should have asked but didn't.
Yeah, so the proposal has already been, the scope of the proposal has already been submitted. I've done my part. There are other community members that handle kind of the negotiations with subcontractors for doing the contract and getting the work done and getting them paid and all that. And as far as I know, that is in process. So we are moving forward with that. I can't give you a timeline, and I wouldn't if I even thought I had an idea anyway, because it'll always get changed. And then you look kind of silly. It's like, okay, at what point is gold going to be $5,000? You know, I wouldn't. I'm not going to tell you that.
If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Right. So real quick, in the process of going through this, remember we were talking about that on-chain notes field.
Yep.
Well, it turns out that gets stored in what they call the local transactions.
Okay.
And you know when you have to recover or recover your wallet, those local transactions kind of go away.
They do.
And you just end up with just these summary entries in your wallet.
Yes.
So looking at that, I thought, you know, every time we do a transaction, there's a lot of really good information that would be super beneficial for any wallet holder that likes to follow their personal accounting.
Yeah.
So since that detail, which is really good stuff, goes away, I thought, well, how about we do an archive of information every time you create a transaction, whether it's sending or receiving. Your wallet takes the date, the sender or receiver address, that internal ID we call the slate ID.
Yep.
That memo field, whether it's the on-chain in Epic Pay or the message 0 in GUI, and the calculated fiat value, and the amount of Epic that was in that transaction. Take those 5 pieces of information and just dump them out into a CSV file.
Okay.
Now, a CSV, separated value file is just a string of text separated by commas, and every spreadsheet in the world can open a CSV file directly into it.
And where would that be held? Within the Epic Pay wallet?
It would be a file on your device.
Okay.
Which you know, if you're paranoid or just very good at record keeping and housekeeping, you're probably going to back that file up every once in a while.
Yes.
But it's a perpetual file. It's just going to keep growing with all of your transactions.
No, that's great. So, but that just to be very, very clear, because we are a privacy project, that holds as much privacy as everything else, right? I mean, because that is data that is being aggregated or accumulated, you know, is there the issue ever of somebody cracking that and being able to see all of your transaction information?
Well, it's just a regular text file. There's no encryption or security at all in that. It's up to you as to what you want to do with that file to make it secure.
Okay, so would that be something within the wallet then that you could opt in or opt out of?
Oh, I'm sure you could. They could set up a flag that's, you know, archive on, archive off. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. But, I'm just trying to be. I'm trying. Or is that something that I could archive? I could get it onto an alternative device and then delete it from the Epic Pay wallet. I'm just trying to think about, you know, what challenges people would have. They'd say, oh, well, you know.
Well, sure. Just create an encrypted thumb drive.
Okay.
Copy the file onto the thumb drive, and every once in a while, and then you can delete it.
Okay.
And it'll start a new file. So if you know, with a little bit of smarts, you could go in and incrementally name each file, 1, 2, 3, and just have those every once in a while, dump
just
them
name
off.
name the file, the date, right?
Yeah, that's
And
right.
then
Dump it off to the encrypted USB, and it's safe. It's secure.
Good. So what we can do is we can educate people how to do that.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
just to satisfy, because that objection is coming. People are saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, well,
Right."
Well,
it's to me, it's a very valuable piece of information to have.
100%. It's a very valuable piece of information for me to have, personally. I don't want anybody else to have it or to be able to access it. That's my only point.
Right. But boy, I'd sure like to be able to bring up and see the date and the address that I received from, or the address I sent to.
Yeah, that's right.
The amount and how much it actually cost in fiat.
Right.
That's a big record keeping for tax benefit right there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Excellent.
So anyway, that kind of came up as far as, well, that information in that merchant invoice is going to get blown away if you recover your wallet. So that got us thinking about, how can we archive transactions? So
that's smart. That's smart.
Just another branch off of, another piece of tech we can do to make it better.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yep. Well, thank you for taking the last 6 months and continuing the advancement of this awesome tech, you and the team.
Absolutely.
This has been a great hour, a great interview. You are always a wonderful guest. So yeah, we have some follow-up and some homework to do. And I'm certainly going to have a chat with Mike and see if he'd be open to a pilot, if we can make things work out. And, like I said, I have a sneaky suspicion he'd be totally down for that. But yeah, well, look, Sky, wishing you and yours happy set of holidays, and everybody in the chat, thank you. This has felt good to be able to talk to you and be able to share with others. So can't wait to continue more of the same. So unless you have anything else, I think that we're going to wrap things up here, sir.
Good vibes all around. Happy holidays, and nice to see you back in the saddle again.
All right. Thank you, my friend. All right. See everybody in the chat. Happy holidays. Cheers.